One thing that's been proven is that people relate to stories better than they do the hard facts. So if you're talking about a project and you're listing the program, or you're listing this, the square feet and the size, the height and the number of stories and all of that, and that's interesting. But people really like stories, and that's why I say focus on the why and not the what. People have an emotional attachment to stories, and they remember those better. We have, for example, we helped one architecture firm rewrite its profile, rather than, founded in 1956 and we have 80 people and we offer architecture, interior architecture and planning services, which is, I think 95% of architects start off their histories like that. We focused on the name of the firm, which was Strada, and it's an Italian word that means street. So we said, what is Strada? Some companies choose to name their firms after their principals, but we decided to name our firm after one of our favorite things, streets. Strada means street in Italian. Streets matter to us. They're the connections between buildings, people, and public spaces. They're the fundamental infrastructure of our communities and the core of our civic lives. This is why we're so passionate about them. So it's just, a different way of positioning the firm. I said beware of jargon and acronyms, especially if you can't remember what the acronym stands for. Sorry, Peter, I just had to. But there's a lot of jargons, a lot of acronyms out there, especially if your clients have acronyms and then you just repeat them. It just it gets to be a little confusing. And then people love to be interviewed. If you want to get into a certain market, you could get your client involved in an article, you could get a quote from them, interview a client or a potential client. It's a way to open up the door. People really like to be asked for information. They like it to be useful. And then finally, my last tip is just to get more mileage. If you've done a speaking engagement, you can turn that into an article or vice versa. If you have an article and you want to be speaking at a conference, you can use all the information and the research that you've done to convert that into another type of presentation. And I mentioned before there are multiple stories for any project, so you can submit the project to multiple publications. And then, I know this, I guess it's kind of obvious, but make sure you tell everybody about it. If you're in an article, if you're reprinted, if you're online, and I know a lot of people like print, but online is so great. You can send a link to somebody, and a lot of times people get their emails. They'll get a link in their emails, and they're much more prone to just click on the link rather than to open an attachment and read a whole thing. Online publications are great, so make sure that you use the press that you get and tell everyone you know.